So apart from PSMS, you are also currently involved in two other supergroups, Planet X and CAB. How do you
hmm
manage to cope with three supergroups?
Well, I'm not in Planet X. I left Planet X some years ago, um, and just really got actively involved in my own instrumental stuff with my new band, and so that's been the situation there. The PSMS is just something newer, that we started not too long ago. So yeah, I'm not really overwhelmed with what I'm doing.
Okay. Alright, so it was reported by the press that Mike Portnoy actually formed PSMS to perform at two drum events at the NAMM show last January, and due to overwhelming response, the band has decided to take the show on tour. Had that not happened, what would you be doing now?
Well, I'm working on my new. I just finished up an instrumental tour, and I'm working on my new instrumental record now at the moment. So I would obviously just be continue doing that, and we're also working on a new Ring of Fire record with Mark Bowles and Vitaly Caprice and myself, and yeah, there's just plenty of things to do. So I just would be continue my quest of working.
Okay. So it is also reported that for the upcoming tour, PSMS will play an all-instrumental set consisting of material from each of its members' solo records and their previous collaborations, as well as classic instrumental covers and extended solo spots. Will Planet X and CAB songs be covered?
We will do one Planet X song off the very first record. Um, um, what the song is, it has so many different names. I think it's Apocalypse. It's the first one off of Derek's record. And is that the question? Are we going to do Planet X tunes?
And CAB songs as well.
No, no cab songs.
Alright. So what are the classic instrumental covers that will be played?
Um, well, we're going to do Stranger from Magic of Insanity record. We're going to do a song that Billy and I have recorded once but never ever played it live, which is called Birds of Paradise. Uh, we're going to do some songs from Dream Theater and, Liquid Tension.
Oh,
Uh, we're
sounds
going to do
interesting.
we're going to do Acid Rain and A Change of Seasons, and we're going to do um, we're going to do some stuff that Derek from Derek's instrumental record. Uh, and we've got a number of different songs that we're doing, but we haven't really you know figured out exactly. We know so many different songs. We haven't decided.
I see, I see. So it's tough to pick. It's tough to pick the list.
Well, we know a lot of songs, so we just want to decide. We might do different songs in different places and things like that.
First world problems of the virtuosos. Well, anyway, there will be an upcoming in-studio DVD of PSMS. Will it feature any original songs?
Not this time, but there's some talk to do some um, original stuff after this tour is over,
Oh,
um, and we'll get to that point after we complete this run. But our hands are full right now with all the material that we had, and it's such an interesting lineup of people, and consequently, all the guys that are in the band have played on the various different tracks. So at one time or another. And it's just it's interesting to be able to play these different materials. So that'll probably transpire into like an instrumental record, or who knows what it'll be when we get off the road.
okay. I'm going to go back in time a little bit now. You came from an
Okay.
era when instrumental rock slash metal emphasized on consistent tempos and progressed from one musical idea to the next in a manner that was rather easy to follow.
hmm
Many younger instrumental rock slash metal bands of today, however, often emphasize on rapid tempo changes and progress from one musical idea to the next in unorthodox manners. Do you think that this paradigm shift in the characteristics of instrumental rock slash metal is the logical next step for the genre?
I don't know. I mean, I don't really analyze particular things that are going on in the music market. I'm really dealing more or less with how I interpret musical feelings, and it doesn't really come from listening to other things. It's more of an inner thing, and I think music's the boundary of music is obviously centered around drums. So, but I play drums and I record drums here in the studio, so it gives me an opportunity to at least to stay within the boundaries of what I feel is original for me. Um, Depending on where music goes, I don't really try to study where it's going to go and determine what's going to happen with it. It's just a matter of really maintaining myself to be true to what I feel is, a perfect description of my art. So, I can't say that I'm really that focused on what other people are doing.
I've read that you're actually heavily influenced by Chopin in particular. So
No, that's not true. I'm not heavily influenced by Chopin.
oh,
I,
is
you
that
know,
so?
that's just the things that people might come to the conclusion of saying. But I mean, we recorded Chopin's music because he has lots of short pieces that fit within the framework and the genre of where these records are coming from. But there's like lots of things that I couldn't play because they're too long. I mean, I would love to record a Beethoven sonata or a Bach partita or a Mozart sonata, but these things are too long. So we went for preludes and etudes because they were short pieces. We could have done pieces by Moskowski and different things like that. But all these different styles of music really wouldn't have fit into the framework of those early records. So I mean, consequently, I've come to the point where I don't include classical music really on any more of my records because I don't think really that the listeners today are as grounded as they once were, and don't really think that there was that kind of interest in people playing as many multiple instruments as there was like 20 or some odd years ago. So it's a little bit different. It's more focused now. But I do plan on recording a strictly classical record and a bunch of different things that are classical related on a separate note altogether.
So will this strictly classical album be recorded in electric guitar or will it be recorded on the piano?
No, it's piano.
Oh, it's the piano.
Piano, and I'm doing some chamber music with violinist.
Wow, that's really unconventional for a rock guitarist.
Well, piano was my first instrument, and that's what I started with. I've never stopped playing, and like I said, I started when I was 5. So I played all the Beethoven sonatas. I've played Chopin concertos, lists, years of pilgrimage, everything. I mean, I've never stopped to this day. So now I have more of a time, the luxury of time to be able to do that, to record, to venture into that. So we're excited about that.
I see.
Uh-huh.
So how about any orchestral works? Have you ever considered moving on to actually recording rock or metal pieces that actually have like orchestral accompaniment in the background or stuff like that?
No, it doesn't interest me. I don't really like the way the guitar sounds with an orchestra,
Oh.
especially the electric guitar. And I've heard people do this, and it just doesn't really. There's such a fine line with violins and string sections because of the fretless instruments, and pitch becomes an issue, and it's just a general timbre of the two instruments doesn't sound to me like it's a perfect marriage. I think also I might be biased because of coming from a view of playing classical so early that I consider rock guitar and progressive rock guitar as a completely different genre than bringing the guitar into the element of an orchestra. So, I mean, I could say comfortably now that's not something I would like to pursue.
All right. Yeah, you have very different views from some other guitarists in the scene whom actually do play along with an orchestra, and even for some of them they actually include gospel choirs as well. So have you?
We're all very unique. That's the wonderful thing about it.
I'm pretty sure you have heard of Devin Townsend, right? So,
yes, a friend of mine. Yes. Of course.
So I mean, on his latest album, he actually recorded with a gospel choir and some string instruments as well. And I mean, he actually plays the guitar and all. So it was basically some epic form of rock with orchestral and gospel choir accompaniment. So what do you think of it?
Well, I think it's an interesting concept for him, and that's he's being true to his art form. That's what I think of it. It's something that he really enjoys, and he's following his musical direction. That's the most important thing, and I think also that fans would expect something like that from him because that's kind of the course he's charted before. But for me, it's more comes from a standpoint of being able to perform live the exact things that I've recorded, and that's important for me. And that I think is probably prevalent in the background that you have when you study classical, because you play music in a sonata form without any other instruments or a chamber form, because you have to be able to go do a recital without an orchestra. And unfortunately, when you record with a choir and an orchestra, you're not going to be able to take that on the road or go to a club and
Oh,
and present that.
yeah, it's
So
simply too impractical.
right. So that's my approach with music is practicality and just being able to do something that when people buy a record and they hear a record, that they want to hear these things performed live the way that they heard them. So that's important for me.
I see. Well, alright, so the tour is about to start soon. What food, drink, or product from America do you think you missed once the tour starts?
Nothing. No, I spend a lot of time living in Spain. My fiance is from Spain, so I'm in Europe quite a bit. I travel all the time, so I'm used to all foods, and I'm really I'm readily adaptable to whatever particular place I'm in. So
Ah,
it's always fun to go away and then come back.
so what are some of the favorite food or drinks you have come across in the many countries that you have toured so far?
Well, I particularly like the Basque food in the northern part of Spain, and it's something that I grown accustomed to. I also like Vietnamese food a lot. And I like you know Japanese food, and I spent so many years doing tours and all these countries. So I mean, I like all the food, really Korean food, and I like everything German food, and so it doesn't really matter to me.
Well, alright, thanks for the interview.
Thank you.
Goodbye.
Goodbye.